Good evening, school board members, superintendent, district staff, and community members. The time is now 5 p.m. on November 19th, 2025, and I call this board meeting of the Edgewood Independent School District School Board to order. No. I am very pleased that you took the time to join us this evening in compliance with the State Government Code 551 for Open Meetings Act. Tonight's agenda has been appropriately posted. This is a meeting in a public entity, not a meeting of the public. As our guests, you are welcome to observe and listen. These proceedings are being video and audio recorded and will become part of the Edgewood ISD's permanent records. To ensure that the recording is accurately reflects these proceedings, please silence your mobile devices and refrain from talking while others are speaking. Since it is legally mandated that these proceedings are recorded accurately, I may have to ask for order periodically should I notice that disruptions are interfering with our recording capabilities. Once again, I extend to each of you a sincere welcome from the entire Edgewood School Board. I will now proceed to take roll call. Sergio Delgado.
Here.
Rudy Lopez.
Present.
I, Martha Castilla, am here.
For the record, Madam Chair, trustees Michael Valdez and trustee Santoyo are here. However, they will not be participating or taking action in this grievance committee hearing.
Thank you, sir. Pursuant to Chapter 268.001D of the Education Court, the Board of Trustees of a school district may delegate the authority to hear and decide a grievance to a committee of at least 3 members, composed only of members of the Board of Trustees. Let the record show that a quorum of the Edgewood Independent School District School Board Grievance Committee is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. A decision by this committee is a decision of the Board of Trustees. Dr. Hernandez, do we have communication from citizens?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Our next item of agenda is communication from citizens. This is the time for community, staff, and students to provide their comments to the school board. To have your comments heard tonight, your name and specific agenda item must be submitted in person or signed up online with the board operations manager. Each speaker will have 3 minutes or less, depending on the number of people who have signed up to speak. Non-English speakers who require a translator may receive up to 6 minutes to speak. The presiding officer of the meeting may modify or waive these time limits as appropriate. In accordance to Edgewood ISD Board Policy BED Local, the board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. Speakers or others who engage in disruptive behavior may be ruled out of order by the presiding officer. Disruptive behavior and action include, but not limited to, racial slurs, insulting, profane, threatening, derogatory, or abusive language, making violent or threatening gestures. Public comment is not intended for speakers to make allegations of employee or student misconduct, requests for employee or student discipline, personal attacks on individuals, or disclosing information about district employees or students. If an individual makes a complaint, the presiding officer will interrupt you, ask you to stop, and direct you to seek resolution of your complaint through the district's appropriate formal grievance policy. DGBA for employee complaints, FNG for student or parent complaints, and GF for public complaints. If after at least one warning from the presiding officer, any person continuing to disrupt the meeting by their words or actions, the presiding officer may request assistance from law enforcement officials to have that person escorted from the meeting. By law, the Edgewood Independent School District Board of Trustees cannot lawfully discuss, deliberate, or make comments or make a decision on any matter raised in public comment period that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Specific factual information or recitation of existing policy may be furnished in response to inquiries, but the board shall not deliberate or make decisions regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Signs, place cards, or banners shall not be allowed in the boardroom. If you have any handouts to distribute to the board members, please hand them to the board operations manager to my left.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we will begin calling people that have signed up. We have Melody Herrera.
Good afternoon. Mic on? Hello? Hello? It's red, so obviously it's not on. Testing, testing. Good afternoon. As a parent and a community member in Edgewood ISD, I'm here to express my strong support for Ms. Maribel Gardea during her Level 3 hearing. I am deeply concerned that the trespass warning issued against her remains in effect. Despite the circumstances surrounding her arrest and removal from the board meeting being neither justified nor consistent with district practice. Over the past months and years, I have personally witnessed conduct of the superintendent that feels intimidating and retaliatory toward parents, including myself, simply for being vocal and engaged. There have been 2 meetings where locations of meetings have been changed from the original location to the district conference center that we are at today, since they know that Ms. Gardea has criminal trespass warnings and would make it impossible for her to attend. As superintendent of a district, he is subject to community oversight and public scrutiny. Attempts to silence and discourage parents' participation undermine the transparency of our district owes to its families. On the night of Ms. Gardea's arrest, multiple speakers exceeded their allotted time during public comment. None of the individuals were removed or arrested, only Ms. Gardea, who has been active in advocating for students and community concerns. It was targeted. From my observations, the sequence of events, her arrests appear to be planned rather than spontaneous response to disruption. Additionally, the decision by the board president, James Hernandez, and the superintendent to abruptly reduce speaking times to 2 minutes, despite there only being 12 speakers that night, was unnecessary and not in the spirit of supporting community voice. More concerning was President Hernandez told Ms. Gardea, "Go for it," as she was speaking, which directly contradicts the idea that she was ignoring directives. If she was verbally permitted to continue, then the sudden arrest without clear and explicit warning was unjustifiable and inconsistent with the Texas Educational Code requirement that individuals must receive a warning before the removal of a meeting unless there was immediate threat, which she did not pose. Parents should never face criminalization simply for engaging in their school district's governance. The criminal trespass warning issued to Ms. Gardea damages community trust and sends a chilling message that other parents who wish to speak up for their children, and also the fact that the governance committee process was rushed and just passed yesterday at yesterday's board meeting, shows the decisions are already being made before she was allowed a true fair hearing, which should be a full 7-body board, not just a select few, of which some have not even completed their state mandated training by law. For these reasons, I respectfully request the board to take corrective action by removing the criminal trespass warning against Ms. Gardea and ensuring that all parents are treated respectfully, consistently, and without retaliation when participating in public meetings. Thank you for your attention in this matter and for considering this request for fairness and accountability. Thank you.
Delia Ruiz.
Good evening, trustees, superintendent. My name is Delia Reese, and I'm here as a parent and advocate asking you to vote against sustaining the Level 3 grievance and against upholding the trespass ban on Maribel Gardea. This decision is bigger than one person. It is about whether Edgewood ISD chooses fairness and transparency or chooses to silence a parent who dared to speak up for their children of this community, the children of Edgewood. Maribel was removed and arrested at a board meeting without receiving the written notice required under Texas Education Code 37.105. No parent should be arrested at a meeting and then denied the very paperwork that state law requires. The district also missed its own grievance deadlines and never issued a level 1 decision. When the system fails to follow its own policies, the answer cannot be punishing the parent who is denied due process. Many of us were here that night when she was arrested. Maribel did not receive a clear lawful warning from the presiding officer or required by law. The removal procedure was not followed. Her arrest was unnecessary, and the way she was handled was far too extreme for a parent who was simply speaking, exercising her right to comment on matters that affect Edgewood students. And every parent should pause and think. If a parent can be removed, restrained, and banned for speaking during public comment, what does that mean for the rest of us? Voting against a level 3 grievance means protecting the voice of every parent. It means rejecting intimidation and unnecessary escalation. It means choosing integrity and community trust over procedural mistakes. And it means refusing to let Edgewood become a district where parents are intimidated, silenced, or bullied for raising concerns, the very behaviors we teach our own children not to engage in. Maribel Gardea has become a trusted voice for parents, supporting families and giving voice to concerns so many have been unable to express. She deserves a seat in this room, not a ban. Thank you. We just ask that you do what is right.
Verónica Palacios.
Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Verónica. Estoy aquí porque la vez pasada se me rehusó hablar. No me permitieron hablar cuando sacaron a la señora Maribel Gardea. Algo que me pareció increíble de ustedes, que por un minuto que se haya pasado a la señora Gardea, la hayan tratado como delincuente. Estoy aquí también porque he escuchado a muchos padres oír quejas del superintendente en que no los escucha, en que no hace nada por los niños de educación especial, el cual también no me parece correcto porque se deben de tratar a todos por igual, tanto niños generales como niños especiales. El hecho de que ustedes hayan sacado a la señora Gardea como una delincuente no se me hace justo porque solamente se pasó un minuto el cual fue el desacato de ella y la han tenido bajo ciertas circunstancias de que no les dejan entrar al distrito de ustedes. Entonces, ¿cuál es su ley de ustedes o cuál es su misión de ustedes? ¿Qué es lo que piensan dejar para las demás generaciones? ¿Qué es lo que ustedes quieren dejar para los demás jóvenes que vienen a estudiar a este plantel, a este distrito? ¿Dejar algo que no les va a dejar con gusto? ¿Cuál va a ser su nombre que va a quedar aquí de ustedes? Pónganse en el lugar de todas las personas que traen a sus hijos a este distrito a estudiar. Gracias.
So, Chief, I can translate for you.
Yes, for the record, Madam Chair, the speaker will have up to 6 minutes so that it can be translated and the board will understand.
Va a tener usted el tiempo de hasta 6 minutos para expresar y yo lo voy a traducir. ¿Sí?
Okay.
Dice frases y luego yo las traduzco.
Mi nombre es Verónica Palacios.
My name is Verónica Palacios.
Estoy aquí porque se me hace una injusticia que hayan agarrado a la señora Maribel como un delincuente.
And I'm here because I feel there is an injustice that Maribel was treated like a delinquent.
Solamente por el desacato de un minuto, el cual no le llamaron ni tocó la campanita para que ella supiera el tiempo.
Just because it was 1 minute and she did not receive like a 1 minute notification.
Es injusto que la hayan tratado así.
It is unfair that she was treated like that.
Llegar hasta el grado de esposarla y sacarla de aquí en una patrulla, no se me hace justo.
That she was handcuffed and then taken to by a police officer. It was not just or fair.
También el que no pongan atención a los padres que vienen a ustedes de educación especial.
Also, the fact that you don't pay attention to those parents who come, parents of special needs students.
He estado con padres platicando y
Ah.
ellos han dicho lo que sienten a través de nosotros.
I had conversations with parents and they have shared with me how they feel.
Hay padres que están aquí presentes y han solicitado una audiencia con el superintendente, el cual se les ha negado también.
There are parents here that might be present that have requested an audience with the superintendent and that has been denied.
La pregunta que es, ¿qué legado van a dejar para las demás generaciones?
The question is, what is the legacy that you want to provide to the generations to come?
Si ustedes no hacen ahorita nada por todas las personas que están viniendo a su distrito, ¿qué va a hacer en el futuro?
If right now, if you don't take an action for those people that are coming to your district, what is going to happen in the future?
Ustedes tienen la respuesta al poner a los padres en primer lugar y saber sus debilidades que tienen por ustedes.
¿Lo puedo repetir?
Ustedes pueden contestar a los padres según las sugerencias que ellos tienen hacia ustedes.
Can you answer to the parents based on the question that they might have?
La pregunta es, ¿están ustedes dispuestos a que este distrito se hunda junto con ustedes?
The question at this point is, are you willing for the district to sink?
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Dorothy Borjas.
My name is Dorothy Borjas, and I'm a parent and community member who was present at the Edgewood ISD board meeting on August 19. And I am in support of Maribel Gardea. During public comment, the speaking time for each participant was reduced from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. I spoke before Maribel, and I spoke past my allotted time, stating to the superintendent that he should resign. Before Maribel began, she asked in Spanish whether she had 2 minutes in Spanish and 2 minutes in English. The presiding officer, James Hernandez, did not understand her question. So board member Marta Castilla explained it to him. After the board president, James, told Maribel, go for it, Maribel began to speak in Spanish. At no point did the presiding officer inform her that her Spanish time had ended, or that she needed to switch in English. She continued speaking and then translated to English to claim her 1 minute, her one remaining minute. While this was happening, her time continued to run with no clarification, and that was when James Hernandez was going back and forth. After her time officially expired, Maribel continued to read her speech. The presiding officer called the next person to the podium. While she was still speaking, at the moment 3 Edgewood ISD police officers and the chief approached her and making hand gestures, but no one ever gave her any warning at this time, or any warning that her time was ending or that she needed to stop. Board member Michael Valdez asked the presiding officer if he directed the officer to remove Maribel. The presiding officer responded with an attitude. Did you see me direct them? My nephew spoke after Maribel, also went past his allotted time. Board president told him, please listen, with no officers approaching him. As a witness, I observed that police approached Maribel without warning, without justification, and without proper directions for the presiding officer. She was simply attempting to complete her bilingual public comment and claimed her remaining time. And this is really injustice, and it shows what kind of board we're having and what kind of transparency we're having for our families. Thank you.
Agapita Jaramillo.
Good afternoon, Edgewood ISD Board Committee members. I am writing to express my deep concern regarding the Level 3 grievance filed on behalf of Ms. Maribel Cardea. Ms. Cardea has consistently served as a strong advocate for our parents and community, especially for those who may not have the courage or confidence to demand open communication and transparency from the district. Her voice represents many, and her advocacy should be valued, not suppressed. I strongly urge the committee to thoroughly review all available facts, including video recordings and media coverage, before making any decisions. These sources clearly reflect that Ms. Cardea was treated unfairly and at times with unnecessary hostility. The manner in which she was handled has not only raised concerns, but has created fear among parents who now worry about speaking publicly at board meetings. The district did not safeguard the community by having someone detained for allegedly exceeding her speaking time. Instead, this action violated our rights as a community to participate in open dialogue. It sent a discouraging message to all parents who wish to advocate for their children and their schools. As a result of these actions, Ms. Cardea is now viewed as a hero by many parents and stakeholders within Edgewood ISD. She stood up for what is right, and the community stands with her. I urge you to consider this collective sentiment. How can someone who courageously advocates for fairness, transparency, and parent voice be found guilty? And honestly, realistically, I find it kind of interesting because I don't know how you as a committee can make such a decision when you were just appointed yesterday afternoon. And I mean, I'm sure you have to receive the documentation, the data, the proof, and then sit here and I mean, unless, you know, you read all night, I mean, and how can you actually make these decisions? I mean, these things take time. I mean, you have to look at all the facts. And I just don't know. It's very, very sad that we've come to this because we want parents to advocate for our children, you know, and this is what's happening. And look at the outcome. Don't push us away. That's what you're doing. You're pushing us away. Thank you.
Laura Wickwire.
My name is Laura Wickwire. I am the granddaughter of Sergeant First Class Jose M. Lopez, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, honored community member, and former resident of Edgewood ISD for many years. Part of Highway 281 is named in his honor, as well as the highest performing middle school in any ISD. He was a man of principle who I believe would be ashamed of how this district treated one of its own. I'm here tonight because what happened to Maribel Cardea matters, not just for her, but for every parent in this district. Let me say this clearly and honestly. Maribel went over her time limit, but what happened next, being placed in handcuffs, publicly arrested, and processed like a criminal was a response that did not match the level of the mistake. Going over a timer is not a threat. It is not violence. It is not security risk. It is not a crime worthy of an arrest. And the clearest evidence of how disproportionate that response truly was, every single charge was quickly dropped because everyone, including the justice system, recognized that this never should have reached that point. When a parent is arrested for going over time, the message to every other parent is, we will punish you publicly and severely, even for the smallest misstep. No school district can build trust that way, and no board should want that kind of reputation. Tonight is not about pretending Maribel followed every rule. Tonight is about acknowledging that the consequences were far more extreme than the situation called for, and that this district must course correct. Upholding this level 3 grievance does not excuse going over time. It does not set a precedent that parents can ignore rules. It does not undermine board authority. What it does accomplish is far more important. It recognizes that escalation to an arrest was unnecessary and harmful. It shows this district values proportional responses and common sense. It signals to parents that they can engage without fear of retaliation, and it begins to rebuild trust that was lost the moment that arrest happened. This board has the opportunity tonight to say, we enforce our rules, but we also use good judgment. We value order, but we will not punish parents beyond reason. We expect respect, but we also extend it. Edgewood ISD can be a model for how districts handle difficult moments with fairness and humanity.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Carrie Rodriguez.
Good evening. My name is Carrie Rodriguez, and I am Matthew, Miles, and David's mom. I'm also here as the president of the National Parents Union. And on behalf of our nearly 2 million members, and as an ambassador for parents and family organizations from across this country who have been watching this situation with serious concern. I just got off a flight from Boston, Massachusetts, because I am here to send a strong message to all of you on behalf of our national network of families who will not sit silently while one of our own is being harmed for speaking up. So let's be very clear about what happened here. Maribel Gardia came before this board to do exactly what we expect parents and ask parents and families to do. She showed up. She asked hard questions. She demanded better for our children. She stepped fully into her role in helping represent the most critical and important stakeholders at this table. And for that, she was silenced, she was removed, she was placed in handcuffs and thrown into jail. And that is wrong. It is unacceptable, and it violates the basic principles of public education. Parents, families in this community have the most to lose when schools continue to underserve our children. And Edgewood ISD has a lot to answer to parents when it comes to academic outcomes and broken promises. Parents have been ignored, have been dismissed, have been disrespected, while this system continues to fail too many children. Edgewood has a lot to answer for, and it should never be parents who bear the blame for speaking the truth. For years, families and communities like this one have been told that they are not engaged enough, not informed enough, not present enough. But when a parent like Maribel and all of these parents here step up and do everything that we claim we want parents to do, she is punished for it. That is a disgrace. It is a sign of a system more invested in maintaining control than in serving its community. So let me remind you of something that is very important. This board works for parents in the community, not for a superintendent, not for the comfort of district leadership, and your accountability is to the public. Your responsibility is to the children and the families who rely on you. And I want you to understand something else. The entire nation saw what happened here. Parent organizations, civil rights leaders, community groups, and family advocates from across the country watched that video and were horrified. They saw an extraordinary leader and an extraordinary human being treated like a threat, simply for speaking with courage and conviction. They saw exactly how this district responds when a parent demands accountability, and they are waiting to see what you do next. Tonight, this board should be
Thank you,
acknowledging
ma'am.
the harm done and issuing a public apology to Maribel Gardia. Thank you for your time.
Mike V.
Trustee Valdez, you're not permitted to speak during public comments.
No,
You're a
sir.
board member.
Good evening. My
You're out
name
of
is
line,
Mike
sir.
V, and I'm speaking
For the
tonight on
record,
behalf
Trustee
of
Valdez
myself.
is going on the record in violation of board operating
I want
procedures.
to express that this board
You're
has
out of line,
chosen
sir.
to create a grievance committee instead of allowing the entire board to hear grievances, which is fully allowed under state law and can be protected in our District of
Sir,
Innovation
you're
Plan.
out of line.
The
You're
most
breaking our
transparent
policies.
approach for Edgewood, my name is Mike V. The most transparent approach for Edgewood is
Sir,
for all
you're out of
7
line.
elected trustees to hear these matters, not a select few. It is also concerning that the trustees chosen for this committee are all deficient in the required trainings, and 2 of them are newly elected trustees with no experience handling level 3 grievances. This committee will be making decisions on behalf of the entire board, and the lack of training and experience undermines the fairness and credibility of this process. I also want to state clearly that I do not know why this board is even having a level 3 grievance right now. I can assume that it might be related to the arrest that occurred because that is the only matter that the public is aware of. I would like to say when she was arrested, our board president did not tell her she was out of order, even though our board policy and the board operating procedures require that instruction before taking any action to remove anyone. This didn't happen. The district attorney, Joe Gonzalez, who is a graduate of this very school district, did not accept the charges that Edgewood attempted to pursue. This alone is concerning, that alone should concern every person here tonight. The district attorney dropped the charges. It is also extremely troubling that the police body camera did not work during the incident. In 2025, with a district that claims to value transparency and you're rooted in social justice, a malfunctioning body camera in the middle of an arrest raises serious questions. And finally, this board recently censored one of its own trustees for personal opinions that are fully entitled under the United States Constitution. This kind of retaliation against elected officials is not aligned with the values Edgewood claims to stand for. Our families deserve transparency, they deserve fairness, and they deserve a grievance process led by trustees who are trained, prepared, and accountable. Instead, we are seeing rushed decisions, unqualified committee assignments, and actions that silence the voices rather than uplifting them. Thank you.
Ms. Lisa Owens?
For the record, board members are prohibited from speaking during public comment. You just violated board operating procedures, sir.
Hello. I first want to thank most of the board members for being here again after a very long night yesterday. And I also want to thank Mr. Santoya for taking the position that was vacant the other night. I want to speak on this level 3 hearing. When you have individuals that come up here and speak, one must first know and understand the rules. It seems that people are not aware or just don't care, especially since there's an increase in narcissistic individuals. I know that the rules are posted online for this board policy procedures. So it's about 30-something pages long, but it's there. It's been there for years. As an adult, you gotta understand that you cannot come up here and start screaming saying that Ms. Gardea, her First Amendment rights were violated because she was given time to speak. If you look at the rule book, it tells you what happens when there's too many speakers. Your time gets cut. It's written in black and white. So as an adult, you have to understand that when we don't follow the rules, our consequences are usually a little bit more severe. So I appreciate you guys coming up with this committee to try to handle grievances that come on board. And I hope that people actually take advantage of that to minimize the number of people that come up here and try to remedy things as quickly as possible. But Ms. Gardea, you failed to follow the rules of the district. They've been there for a very long time. Yes, you have a handful of people here supporting you, but remember, there's thousands that are not. There's thousands of people that do not support you. And I know this because I'm actually on the campus talking to people. They are embarrassed with what you've done to this district. So we cannot allow this type of behavior to continue from anyone. As we just saw on display, even our board members don't behave properly. But there's a verse in the Bible, spare the rod, spoil the child. That's one of these situations here. You know, so I'm asking you as a committee to make an informed decision based on the information that you have. You know, because as adults, we have to set the example. We have to make sure that we are not behaving badly when we're up here because that is not a representation of this district. This individual has brought nothing but negative publicity to our district, which in turn, it reflects back into our students. It affects our students. This individual doesn't even live in this district, doesn't have a child in this district. I understand she has kids with disabilities. I have kids with disabilities. I've had my ups and downs with this district. Everybody that knows me knows. But I follow the rules. I work together with the school at the lowest possible level to get things done correctly. So throwing a fit when you come up here because you're not getting what you want, as an advocate, as a board member, as a community member, that behavior needs to stop. It really needs to stop, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Dora Maldonado? Maldonado?
I'm here to read this statement to request that the board trustees and the superintendent reconsider the ultimate dismissal of the criminal trespassing action issued to Ms. Gardea, Maribel Gardea. Based on the information I have received directly from an EISD officer, the district standard protocol is to issue a verbal warning first, followed by a written warning, and only after continued non-compliance does the situation escalate to a trespassing citation. In this case, Ms. Gardea did not receive the protocol steps that are normally provided to parents, guardians, and community members prior to such action. While I understand the adjusted speaking limits were implemented due to the high volume of public speakers, it is also clear that several individuals exceeded their time without any enforced action. In Ms. Gardea's situation, she did request her remaining time because President Hernandez did not initially inform her that her first speaking period had already concluded. Ms. Gardea continued to speak only after President Hernandez permitted her to go for it. Under these circumstances, the response she received appears disproportionate and inconsistent with establishing practice. Beyond the specific incident, I believe it is essential to acknowledge Ms. Gardea's long-standing work in our community. She is a dedicated advocate and strong leader, an exceptional supporter of students with disabilities. Her efforts have helped many of our families and their children. Instead of treating her as an adversity, I urge the district to recognize the value of collaboration. Forming a partnership with her nonprofit organization could strengthen our parent engagement, increase transparency, and support families who often struggle to navigate the special education procedures, especially during the time when the district, like many others across the state, is facing shortages in special education and instructional staff. Our students deserve every possible resource, especially now. Partnerships, community involvement, and open communication are how we ensure students become successful, self-sufficient, confident, and capable of advocates for themselves. They leave our district. We must avoid being another system that fails them. For these reasons, I respectfully request that the trespassing citation issued to Ms. Gardea be dropped, that the district strongly consider establishing collaborative partnership with her nonprofit organization, My Shifted. Parenting with My Shifted would provide families with direct access to advocacy support, clear understanding of educational process, and guidance in securing appropriate services for their children. This collaboration would not only strengthen parent engagement and improve outcomes for students with disabilities, but it would also demonstrate the district's commitment to transparency, equality, and meaningful community involvement. It is in our time when our district is facing staff shortages and increased student needs. Forming a partnership with My Shifted is not only beneficial, it is necessary to ensure our students, families, and community receive the resource supports they urgently deserve. Government systems across the nation are failing our students, and we must not make the same choice and be part of that pattern. Instead, we should stand out, be different, and lead by example by building strong partnerships with My Shifted and put the students first.
Thank you. Gabriela Hernandez?
Let's go. Okay, lo hace. Se me dice.
Buenas tardes.
So good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Gabriela Hernández Martínez.
My name is Gabriela
Para
Martinez.
servirles a la Guadalupe y a ustedes,
To serve you, God, and Our Lady of the Guadalupe. Yes, and everybody.
Yo conocí a la señora Maribel
I know Miss Maribel
porque ella me estuvo ayudando en un caso de bullying
because she was helping me in a case of bullying
que en el cual el distrito
in which the district did not support her.
y que hasta la fecha
And to this point,
tenemos secuelas y consecuencias
we still are suffering the consequences
en mi familia.
and sequels in my family
Debido a la negligencia,
due to the negligence,
nepotismo,
nepotism,
falta de acción de sus dirigentes
lack of the leadership taking action
para apoyarnos en esta situación.
to support us in this particular situation.
Hemos pasado discriminación,
We have experienced discrimination,
racismo,
racism,
también por nuestra fe,
and also because of faith, our faith,
y en ningún momento
and at any point,
el distrito
the district
se mostró empático
has showed signs of empathy
ni apoyarnos
in terms of supporting us
a trascender esta etapa.
in overcoming this particular stage.
Entonces fue
And so it has been
cuando conocí a Maribel
when I met Ms. Maribel
y a su organización de Mindshare.
and her organization Mindshift.
Ella, en conjunto con otros padres,
She, along with other parents,
me han estado apoyando
they have supported me
con recursos
with resources
para saber cómo
to know how
ser defensora de mi hijo
be an advocate for my son and for his rights
y de mis dos hijos.
and of my two children.
Ella vino aquí
She came here
para apoyarnos.
to help us.
Entiendo el punto de la
I understand her point
no, de ella, que dice que ella se pasó la regla.
that she stated that she crossed some of the rules
De un minuto.
that over 1 minute,
Yo lo entiendo.
and I understand that.
Lo que me parece negligente,
What I feel is negligent,
que no le hayan hecho una llamada de atención
that a sign of that she was not advised,
y me pareció muy agravante que hayan retirado solamente por un minuto.
and she felt that we went over in terms of going over 1 minute
Ya que yo he visto cosas peores en el distrito
Because-
de nosotros,
because I have witnessed things that are worst in the district,
hemos visto cosas peores en el distrito.
and we have seen worse things in the
Hemos
district,
vivido cosas peores en su distrito
and we have lived worse things in the district,
y no hemos visto ninguna acción para defendernos de su parte.
and we have not seen any action from us to defend us.
Más sin en cambio, Maribel
But Ms. Maribel
y Miss Michael Valdés,
and Ms. Michael Valdez,
que dan la cara por nosotros,
that they're facing, they're putting their safes for us, their face for us,
ellos salen sancionados.
they're being sanctioned.
Entonces, yo le pido
So today I'm requesting
que nos dé transparencia.
that you give us transparency.
No sé si el señor es el abogado del distrito.
I don't know if this gentleman, if he's the attorney for the district,
Yes.
Sí.
Pues entonces me gustaría
but I would like
que él, como es el abogado del distrito,
that because he's the lawyer of the district that represents the district and my kids
asisten a su distrito
and my children, they're members of the Edgewood, they're students in Edgewood,
y por lo tanto
and therefore,
sus impuestos todo se paga porque nuestros niños van a la escuela.
because of taxes, we use those for them to go to school.
Quiero ponerme en contacto con él
I would like to be in contact with him
y trabajar con él
and to work with him alongside.
para que me explique, como dice la señora,
That way he can explain, like she stated,
las reglas
the rules
y en qué momento,
and in which particular moment,
por un minuto,
because 1 minute,
se puede soportar tanta negligencia.
we can cope with such a level of negligence
Y todo lo que pasó Maribel en su arresto
and everything that Maribel went through when she was arrested
y todo lo que ha pasado Michael,
and all the things that Michael has gone through,
lo que ha pasado mis hijos
what my children have gone through and experienced,
y lo que ha pasado mi familia.
and what my family has experienced.
Como por un minuto
Because 1 minute, because of 1 minute,
pueden hacer todo eso
you can, do all of this,
y por 4 años
and for 4 years
que yo llevo luchando y pidiendo ayuda,
that I have been requesting assistance and help,
no han hecho nada.
You have not taken any action.
Actualmente la directora está
Currently,
apoyando,
currently the principal, she is supporting me,
pero ella tiene que estar viendo las secuelas
but she is also witnessing the sequels,
consecuencias
consequences
del sistema
of the system
que ustedes manejan.
that you are managing and handling.
Así que yo pido que el abogado,
So therefore, I am requesting that the lawyer,
supongo que está al servicio del distrito,
that he is to support and serve as the district,
que me oriente
They-
acerca del proceso de Michael,
that he will
de
give me,
Maribel y de mi hijo.
that he will provide me guidance in the process of him, Maribel, and my children.
Thank you. Ariel Taylor. Ariel Taylor Smith.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Ariel Taylor Smith. I'm the Senior Director of Policy and Action at the National Parents Union, and I oversee our litigative and legislative strategies work. I flew here this evening to express our union's serious concerns regarding the treatment of Maribel Gardia. Ms. Gardia participated in public comment where she was rightfully asking for the district to address concerns of parents. She gave her testimony in both English and Spanish, something that is permissible both because of federal civil rights laws and your own board policy on this matter. When she went over her time, she was forcefully removed from the boardroom and arrested. She was detained overnight in jail for exercising her First Amendment right to free speech. Asking questions of a public body and engaging in civic participation is a clearly protected activity. Ms. Gardia's rights were clearly violated during this incident. Equally concerning is the credible indication that her treatment was influenced by the language in which she was choosing to speak, Spanish. If that's true, it raises serious issues under federal civil rights laws, including Title VI, which prohibits discrimination based on national origin, including language. Whether intentional or reckless, the arrest of a parent who spoke Spanish sends a message wholly incompatible with the obligations of a public institution. I will also bring to the attention of this board that the U.S. Department of Justice recently issued a memorandum specifically affirming that parents must not face retaliation for their participation in school governance. In that directive, issued by Attorney General Pam Bondi, the department stated, "Parents' First Amendment rights and their fundamental right to direct the moral and religious education of their children will be protected from unlawful attacks." The department further emphasized federal authorities will identify and respond to credible threats against parents whose federal rights have been violated in education settings. In light of these considerations, I urge this board and any supervising agency to take the following steps. 1, conduct a formal review of the circumstances surrounding Ms. Gardia's arrest, including the decision-making process, the legal basis asserted, and the language-based disparities in treatment. 2, implement corrective measures, including retraining, oversight mechanisms, or disciplinary action as appropriate. 3, affirm publicly that no parent will ever again be subjected to arrest, detention, or intimidation for asking questions in English or Spanish, or any language in which they can best participate. This is not about political disagreement. This is not about managing public meetings. It's about ensuring that this board
you, ma'am.
operates within the limits of the law. Thank you.
The time is 5:49, and the Edgewood Independent School District will go into closed session as authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.071.
And
Thank you.
For the record, Madam Chair, the board is also going into closed session pursuant to 551.074.
The time is now 7:47, and the Edgewood Independent School District School Board reconvenes from closed session. Item 4A, discussion action regarding Level 3 hearing for Maribel Gardea. Is there a motion?
Yes, I moved that the board to deny grievant Maribel Gardea requested remedies as presented in the closed session agreements.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? If we have no discussion, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, raise your hand and say nay. All those abstain, raise your hand and say abstain. Motion carries. The time is now 9:48. 7:48. Do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, ma'am, I motion to adjourn this meeting.
Any second?
Second.
Any discussion? No? If we have no discussion, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. All those opposed, raise your hand and say nay. All those abstain, raise your hand and say abstain. Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.